Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Sunday. This is Game Day Live, coming to you live from American Whiskey, 51 Edison Place, across the street from Prudential Center, next to Championship Plaza. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Vinnie Parise out of Chicago, Illinois. You got that big Chicago hat that's just like staring right at me, Vinnie.
Right in your face.
Yeah, as we're streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, Twitch, and now on Instagram Live on the Let's Go Devils Network as the Devils take on the Vancouver Canucks today. Matinee game at the Rock. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Devils are on a one-game winning streak right now. Somewhat of an impressive victory over the Anaheim Ducks, which I was a little scared of because they've had a pretty decent season so far, Vinny. We're starting to feel a little chipper. But before we begin in previewing this game, some of the things that came out through the media after the game about players, having this Quinn Hughes cloud over their head kind of affected their game. Do you really believe that, Vinny?
Yes and no. I still think you skate, you pass, you shoot, regardless of what's going on behind the scenes. As long as it's not like something traumatizing, like of course that'll really affect someone's game. But like the Canucks aren't a good team. They're one of the bottom 5 teams in the league, even with Quinn Hughes. And it's only going to get worse. And now today we find out Elias Pettersson's not going to play. He's been placed on injured reserve, and they're activating Marco Rossi, who missed the last 9 games with the Minnesota Wild before being traded in the Quinn Hughes trade. And I believe Zeev Buium is going to make his Canucks debut as well. But, without Quinn Hughes, without Pettersson, the Canucks, they're not a very good team. And the Devils, that does not mean it's a free win. They still have players who get paid. They still have good players. Just comparatively speaking to the rest of their division, the Canucks, they're kind of forcing themselves into a little bit of a rebuild here now. So a lot of people making, waves about the fact that Quinn was in New Jersey and he had to leave New Jersey to go play for the Canucks. The Canucks were already there. He wasn't there because he thought he was being traded to the Devils. He was there with his Canucks teammates. So everybody could chill on that a little bit. If the Canucks were playing the Florida Panthers yesterday or the day before, Bill Guerin would have had to pick him up from the airport from Florida, not New Jersey. It was just a pure coincidence that he happened to be about to play the Devils before being traded. If the Devils would have been the team that landed him, he would have just switched locker rooms and he'd be suiting up in the red and black today. But he's going to play for the Minnesota Wild against the Boston Bruins, leaving the Canucks this game against the Devils that I think the Devils should really put their best effort towards trying to win, because after an impressive win, as you alluded to, over the Anaheim Ducks yesterday, who are young, fast, smart coach, a lot of people thinking the Devils were going to get destroyed, especially after they gave up the first goal. It was important to go out there and get that win yesterday, and I thought everybody played well.
Yeah, I think there's some truth to it that with the whole Quinn Hughes saga that the Devils were, it was a distraction. It was a kind of a cloud hanging over their head. But, I was talking to Oh My Goodness earlier this morning, and he's like, but Sam, you talk about being mentally tough and not getting down on yourself so much. And, again, these players, what's going in their minds about a potential trade is I not only have to uproot myself, my family, whatever, but you're going into a different country on the completely opposite end of the continent called North America. I think it can be a distraction, but now there's no distractions right now. It's over. The Devils didn't win the sweepstakes. The Devils have a lot of injuries right now that they're dealing with. And you put in these young kids, like, well, he's not exactly young, but like Angus Crookshank, then you had Xavier Parent, and then, Lamico trying to, get his career restarted in the NHL, all that. These guys stepped up yesterday. And I'll even say on top of that, Andre Palat got on the score sheet not once, but twice. And they're finding contributions from players that you wouldn't normally think, would be leading the way. And I think that's what has been the recipe for the Devils' success this season when they're winning games.
Absolutely. And you look at the guys who found their way. You brought it up. Lamico, Nason scored a goal. Cotter scored a goal. Lamico, did he have 2 assists? He had 2 assists.
2 assists. Yep.
Palat finding his way. Connor Brown into the empty net. That's what you need. And you need that to continue, though, when Jack Hughes comes back. That's a Stanley Cup team then, potentially. Yep. Or at least a win around in the playoffs type team. Everybody needs to do their part. No passengers. Because even with your superstars going, which they presumably will, based on Elliot Friedman always says on 32 Thoughts, the podcast, the greatest indicator of future behavior is past behavior. Well, past behavior is that Jesper Bratt, Nico Hischier, Jack Hughes play well when they're healthy and in the lineup all the time. For the Devils lately, in the last 2 or 3 years, depth has been a troublesome point for them. And so if Palat, Brown, Gritsuk, I know he's a little banged up right now, but when he's back, those are the types of players who can be the difference between this team getting swept in the first round or possibly winning a round or 2 or maybe more.
Yeah, and the contributions from the bottom 6, we talked about the Devils were able to roll 4 lines yesterday, which is very important. But also important was the goaltending. Jake the Snake Allen was strong, gave up that 1 goal, which, again, I wouldn't fault him on. But he was strong when he had to be, especially I think it was in the second period where he stretched out that left leg pad to stretch to the post to make that save in the crease. Timely saves changes the momentum of the game, and I just don't think Jake Allen gave the Ducks any reason to grab that momentum, just because he was just solid in net. I mean, I think he had about 30 saves yesterday.
Yeah, and so today you hope for the same from Markstrom. You knew, I know you're not a fan of Markstrom starting, but NHL teams play their backup goalie in back-to-back sets. That's just kind of the way of the world now. Very, very rarely does a guy play back-to-back games the entire game, both times. Even the guys who really, Vasilevsky and Hellebuck, I know Hellebuck will have less game starts this season because of his injury a little bit, but even guys like that who really start 65, 70 games for their teams, those other 15 games that they don't play are usually back-to-back games. So, I don't know.
Yeah, but you know me, Vinny. I usually like to buck the status quo, given the situation with the amount of injuries that has happened. That you need to grab these points early when you can. We cannot wait for Markstrom to find his game early in the game. It's usually he gives up 3 goals and then suddenly he starts to play well. He has to break that trend today. But, we have Jenny Streeter of On SI in the Andy Green room right now from the Devils press box. Let's welcome in Jenny. Jenny, how are things going over in the press box where you're at right now?
Yeah, hi Vinny, hi Sam. Thanks for having me on again so quickly. The Rock is starting to, fans are starting to trickle in and things are good here. I'm sure you guys can hear the music in the background. Yep. So I am in fact already here getting set up. So things are going. Excited to, quickly tell you guys some stuff I've learned while I'm here whenever you're ready to get into it.
We heard our guy Pete on the organ too during warm-ups. That was nice. Love Pete.
Oh, yes. When we were doing our mic check, I did give Vinny and Sam the exclusive orchestra music. So that was. I'm glad I could provide y'all that as a key source. One thing that's being stressed to us here on Press Row is that the New Jersey Devils are now 13-0 when leading after the second period. That's something that was in the notes that were provided to us. So I think that was an interesting note, especially after the 4-1 win over the Anaheim Ducks yesterday. I know when I was on here yesterday as well, I said that I was kind of happy with the production from Cody Glass. And, we did get him to see another goal from him yesterday. I believe that brings him to 4 points in the past 3 games. So excited to see what he does against Vancouver.
Jenny, what are your thoughts of Markstrom starting? I mean, Vinnie and I were kind of debating that before. I don't know what your thoughts were. I'm a little bit outside the box thinking of trying to get the wins now while he's hot.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the saves that were on display yesterday, but I do think, Markstrom's been kind of getting some heat from fans lately, so I do think that this could be a potential opportunity for him to kind of build on hopefully the momentum from yesterday and see if he can kind of redeem himself in the eyes of fans and those who are kind of naysaying him right now.
Yeah. Vinnie?
And so when you see the lineups come out and you're missing a lot of different types of, star players, at least contributors to the Devils, and yesterday you get Andre Palat and a bunch of other people that don't normally impact the score sheet. Who do you think finds a way to step up today when they host the Vancouver Canucks, who are not the most defensive stout team or the highest producing offensive team in the league?
Yeah, Vinny, that's a really good question. I mean, I just think given the circumstances of this game, all eyes are just going to be on Luke Hughes tonight, even though he's a really big name. I think that's who fans have come to see, just given the circumstances of everything that's happened. But it just the success that we're seeing across the roster from yesterday really shows the depth that the New Jersey Devils are building. So I think that's good. I do think it's also important to mention that, I know we're kind of trying to phase it out and focus strictly on the Devils, but with the Quinn Hughes trades, that does technically mean Vancouver is down their best player and their captain. So I do think that gives New Jersey a definite advantage today.
Well, definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely gives them an advantage, but at the same time, again, it's like what we saw yesterday with the Devils. You've got some new faces, and they've got something to prove, too. So, you got to also, it's kind of a double-edged sword there. It's like, okay, you got that, but at the same time, I'm sure that these players they're coming from Minnesota want to make a first good impression.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Another thing that was stressed to us in game notes here on Press Row is that the Devils are also now 9-3 when outshot. So I do think that kind of shows that when the pressure is on, the Devils do know how to deliver as well.
Yep.
Absolutely. And you see when a team like the Canucks deal with something like this, though, sometimes that's a spark. Sometimes you insert a Marco Rossi, a Zeev Bouillon, and it adds a little bit of youthful exuberance to a lineup, and that makes them play well. It makes them play like the team that's the exact opposite of what you would expect. How do the Devils prepare for that?
That's such a good question. I feel like in the sports industry as a whole, as players, as coaches, as coaching staff, you're always taught to expect the unexpected and to just take things one moment at a time. I hate that answer. I feel like that's such a PR answer I just gave you guys live on the podcast. But
yeah, we got a representative of the New Jersey Devils, Jenny Streeter, in on the podcast.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see how things are. I'm expecting high energy. I have a lot of sources who have texted me that they've flown in from all over the country for this game. I'm going to be doing some post-game interviews with them. So honestly, I think one of the main storylines tonight is just what the energy level of the Rock is going to be like. I'm expecting lots of fun from the stands today.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jenny. I know you're going to be doing some interviews later after the game, but thank you for coming on, and stay warm out there with all this snow.
Yeah, you too, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Yep. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Jenny.
Hopefully you brought a snow brush. I heard it's brutal over there right now.
Definitely. Well, that is Jenny Streeter. You can find her on X at Jenny Streeter 3 of On SI from the press box. First time we've ever done this, I think.
Yeah, I've never done the show from. Never done the show from the press box. I don't have the, what's the word? The will
Yeah.
So that was very good. She's doing a good job. Hopefully that everything with the game gives her a good story, because that can be the worst when you're up there and the team gets blown out or something, like it's kind of a boring game and then you got nothing.
Yeah.
So hopefully the drive through the snow was worth it to be in the press box. It's interesting up there.
Well, she came
I'll
from
say
the,
that.
she came from the city, so but that's yeah. I mean, it's like for
Dedication is
reporters,
key.
yeah, dedication. Like I got up this morning. I'm not gonna lie to you, Vinny. I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking about telling Frank I'm gonna mail it in today. The snow. I had every single excuse, and I'm like, wait a second, I got to be here. So you just go in and
That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We grind. You grind. I grind. Jenny
but-
grinds. Shorts guy. Everybody who's a part of this
Yeah.
has grinded over the years. So
Well,
great.
it's also hockey culture as well, because anybody that's played
Yeah.
hockey would drive through this weather to get to the rink at 4 a.m. no less. So it's just kind of it's in our DNA. If you ever played hockey, it's like that's what you do. It's like it's 5 inches on the ground or 10 inches. Is the rink still open? Oh, it is. Oh, we'll go. It just works that way. And and of course the Devils years ago had the 3-3-4 game where only 334 fans showed up for Devils versus Calgary. I mean, that was a different
But
time.
10,000 people say they were there.
Yeah. Actually, Bruce Zeman, good friend of the podcast, was there because his dad worked for the New Jersey Devils at the time period. Was there. They passed the clipboard around. But that's right. There's a lot of people that claim that they're, and then when the list comes out and you're like looking at it like, you're a liar. Oh, I was there, But actually, do you know where I was for that 3-3-4 game? I have an excuse, even though I was only 7, 8 years old at the time.
Well, I was going to say like school or something, a field trip, something.
No, I actually had pneumonia, and I was actually in the hospital.
Sam.
Yeah, as an 8-year-old. Yeah, it scared the crap out of me.
It's your fault.
Yeah, well, don't blame me. Anyway, all right, well, let's get your predictions in the YouTube live chat. We'll also go to Instagram Live and all that just to find out, what people are predicting for tonight. Also, I'll have more information about this, but we are collaborating with Danielle McCartan at WFAN. I don't know if you heard about this, Vinny, but she has started her own sports travel company where she'll take you. So say if you're a fan of the New Jersey Devils, she arranges a trip. So all you have to do, she'll provide the transportation, the food, the venue, the ticket. All you have to do is show up. And the first trip, it's a test run. I'll be on it. January 6th, Tuesday, January 6th, Devils versus Islanders on Long Island. You get to the bus by 4 p.m. You go there. You got 90 minutes of chowing down. I believe it's an open bar, but I got to double check that. And then you go to the game. You watch the Devils win. And then at 10 p.m., you're back on the bus going back home for one set price. That's it.
That's an incredible idea.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because, honestly, I've thought about it with this podcast that, we talked about the private jet one day, about flying, to various cities and all that, but we're not in the travel business. Danielle, she has her gig at WFAN. That's still going to continue. She's still going to try to get that full-time 5-day-a-week gig like everybody would love on the number one sports radio talk in the country. But we're going to try this out, and you know what? It could be something where the Let's Go Devils podcast, wherever Danielle plans a Devils trip to a certain city like Philadelphia or Madison Square Garden, let her plan it. You just pay the money and set it and forget it, and then just hang out with the podcast. That's what I'm thinking. So, but there will be more information about that in the upcoming days as we try to we've had a busy weekend, but she made that announcement yesterday. So, all right. So I see some. Let's see some scores. But I gotta address Devil Heaven 77. Sam, did you say you used to snow plow? I plow for a living last 25 years. Yeah. So my dad bought a Western snow plow because our driveway was one of those driveways growing up where you hire somebody else. Not only do they do a bad job, Vinny, but it's going to cost you. And especially in New Jersey, if you've got a bad winter, you're out like $5,000, $10,000 just for them to do that. And plus, it's more of a safety thing because if you need to get out, you can easily plow instead of have to wait for somebody. So I used to snow plow before I had my license. So anyway, yes, I did say that. All right, so let's go through these scores. Wimpy says 3-0 Devils. Let's go. Pod Legend says 4-1 Devils. Selector Boy says 4-3 Devils. Now people are saying the Devils are going to win, unlike yesterday, Vinny.
Turncoats.
Yeah. 4-0 Devs. Marky shutout says Devils 777. Nick Lovell of the UK, 3-2 Devils. Sir says 3-2 Devs, but Canucks go up 2-0 in the first 15 minutes. It's a bold prediction. Mark Schwab says, Mark Schwab says, no snow in Switzerland, capital city so far. Thank you, climate change. Soon we have Italian wine, oranges, and lemons. Vinny's mom says 4-2 Devils, also known as Mrs. Wu's new BFF. Okay. All right. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Love it when family gets involved with these predictions. Mike Rossi says 5-3 Canucks. I'm assuming Mike Rossi, not a negative person, just using reverse psychology. Jenny Streeter writes, thanks for having me on, guys. Crowd prediction, Luke Hughes will be getting the loudest applause in the starting lineup announcement due to fans who came for the Hughes Bowl, which I'll take Jenny's line, Hugh Bowl, because it's
the Hugh Bowl now.
Yeah, it's now
that was brilliant.
That
made me laugh too. It's the Hugh Bowl now.
Yeah. Mark Schwartz says 4-2 Devils. Nico hat-trick incoming, 5-1 Devils, says Corbin. Let's see here. Morning exercise, snow. Yeah. Also, folks, in all seriousness, when you're shoveling the snow, don't lift above your heart. Just sweep it away, because you can actually hurt yourself badly if you're not careful, because that's a lot of weight to put on yourself. All right, Vinny, what's your prediction?
I think the New Jersey Devils beat the Vancouver Canucks 5-2.
Wow. That is a great prediction, Vinny. The other night I was predicting who's against. Well, I was like, it's 8-4 Devils, but it was the other Tampa Bay Lightning, and it turned out to be 8-4 Tampa.
Yeah. That game was brutal, man.
Well, I'll tell you.
I don't want to go back there.
With the New Jersey state flag, I might dress up as a cookie today, but I'm going to have this New Jersey state flag. Nobody knows what the New Jersey state flag looks like, but we're 1-0 with this flag, and I'm bringing it in tonight if I go inside. But, sometimes life happens outside of American whiskey that I might have to attend to. But I'm saying, because it's Markstrom, 6-4 Devils.
6-4 Devils. Okay.
And he's going to give up 2 in the first period.
I mean, if they can outscore the problem today, that's fine.
Yep.
You obviously don't want that, but hopefully the Devils find a way to score some goals today, because I think they're capable of it, and I think Vancouver's capable of allowing it. So, but it's the second half of a back-to-back. That's always interesting. I always wonder if the second half of a back-to-back is different when both games are day games. Mm-hmm. if it has a little bit of a different feel on your legs or your overall mentality. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah, Seagot says 4-3 Nucks because Markstrom's poop. Look, a lot of people don't like Markstrom right now. And, I can understand that, but winning solves everything. He can turn around people's, mindset about him. But also, just want to update before we go, Vinny. I did a one-day poll about the job approval of Tom Fitzgerald. And the question I posed on my X account, at Primetime Sam Wu, do you approve or disapprove of the way Tom Fitzgerald is handling his job as New Jersey Devils GM? 9% of you out of 164 votes, but 9% of you approve, 67% disapprove, and 24% unsure. That was the one that I thought it was going to be black and white, but there are fans, a quarter of that 164 votes, that are unsure, so they're still holding out hope. And you're one of them.
I consider myself unsure because you wanted to trade for Markstrom. Everybody wanted to trade for Markstrom. That is undeniably was the consensus thing that fans wanted. He did it. Everyone wanted Timo Meier. There's nobody can look me in the eye and tell me they didn't want to trade for Timo Meier. I believe most people.
Actually, well, no.
You don't count. You don't count for any of these.
Yeah, because I'm status.
You don't count for any of these.
Buster.
Yeah, you don't count for any of these. Although Timo Meier has been good. I have no issues with Timo Meier. Dougie Hamilton, that was a great signing, especially at the time. Now he's looking a little, not like he was 4 years ago. I get that. But the free agency and the trades, the Cotter trade, getting Cotter out of Alexander Holtz, I don't hate that. My issues with Tom Fitzgerald, actually, and guess, if they get Quinn Hughes for free in 16 months, then the Minnesota Wild are going to look terrible for giving up Zeev Buium and Marco Rossi and the other guy, I forget his name, and then the first-round pick in one of the best drafts that we've seen in a while.
Unless they win the Cup and he goes.
Unless they win the Cup.
Yeah.
Yes. If they win the Cup, I almost guarantee he's gone. But, yes, I agree. But for the most part, the Devils could still get Quinn at 27, 28 years old for free. So that would make the Devils actually look a little smarter because they'll still have Mercer. Well, you don't know what they trade down the line. But it's still my biggest issue with him is drafting.
Yeah.
I don't think he's been very good at drafting. That's where
and who does that fall upon? Is it the director of scouting? Is it the analytics team? Is it Kate Madigan? Who does that fall upon? I would say there's plenty of blame to go around.
There's plenty of blame to go around. He gets the brunt of it though for putting said people who may advise him in place. He's getting bad information from people. Maybe taking Saliev over Buium was. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
I wanted Buium to go second overall to the Blackhawks. I like Lev Shinov. He's a good player, but Buium can be like a dynamic, winning defenseman in the NHL. Vancouver did well in the trade knowing they had to trade Quinn Hughes. They didn't get Quinn Hughes in return, but knowing that you have to trade him, I think they did well. So I'm still unsure on Tom Fitzgerald because draft trends can change in an instant. Obviously, I think Luke Hughes probably goes higher than 4 in a redraft in 21, but one good draft pick doesn't, take away from everything else. Nemitz, good player. He's turning into a good defenseman. I still think you probably take Cooley in a redraft, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how this rolls because there's been good by Fitzgerald and there's been bad by Fitzgerald. So that's why right now I'm unsure.
Yeah, and the Timo Meier thing, just remember in context, when I wrote out that the Devils don't need Timo Meier, in context it was more of, at the time, the Devils needed more beef and defense. Their offense was like on fire in that year. And getting Timo Meier, I'll tell you, if he did not re-sign Timo to that 8-year deal, that would have been one of the worst trades, I think. Because Zetterlund at the time, there were times where Zetterlund was putting up better numbers than Timo Meier to start the season, and you're just shaking your head, why? But no, it turned out to be, it worked out for Tom Fitzgerald. But he did take that risk there because of, he was guaranteed that $10 million next year, but, they worked out an 8-year deal. So, we have to be fair to Tom Fitzgerald. There were some good things that he did, but there were a lot of things, especially with Scott Wedgwood and Mackenzie Blackwood, doing well. And then even Vitek Vanacek, even though he wasn't like the main, he won a Stanley Cup. So it's kind of amazing how things work. But, well, that's all we have for now, folks. Vinny, we're going to drop the podcast in about 10, 20 minutes from now. Devils taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Hugh Bowl is what it is. And come back to American Whiskey afterwards for Devils After Dark. After the game, I know Jenny may be doing some interviews here. And what's that?
We're rooting for the Broncos today.
Okay. I don't know why.
If the Broncos win and the Bears win, the Chicago Bears are back in first place.
Oh, good. All right. Well, I'll root
Your
for
second
the
favorite
Broncos
team, Sam. Your second favorite team, Sam, the Chicago Bears.
for today. And also, I got my Coup jersey yesterday.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Woo. Coup. Very good.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll make up that mishap of a field goal that he got made fun of. I mean, he had a bye week to think about it, that sucks. But he's still on the team from what I understand. So anyway, so the Giants are playing the Commanders at MetLife Stadium. But we got Devils
Giants.
Canucks here at Prudential Center. It's a snowy day, folks. Come back to American Whiskey. Devils After Dark after the game. Till next time, let's go Devils.